Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Gauritai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Welcome, dear devotees, dear guests, to our Sunday program here in the Krishna Temple Zurich. Herzlich willkommen zum Sonntagsprogramm im Krishna Temple Zürich. Gibt es jemand, der kein Englisch versteht? Ja, übersetzt du? Übersetzt du vielleicht ins Deutsche? Good. So thank you very much for coming. Now we're going to have a lecture, and we are very fortunate and happy we have with us His Grace Jagannatha Priya Prabhu. Let us welcome him by loudly chanting Harivo. Jagannatha Priya Prabhu is from ISKCON. Actually, he joined in ISKCON Chowpatty, as far as I remember. He's a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and he's regularly traveling between the US and India. He's involved on both sides, and he made it a custom to stop in Switzerland regularly. He was here last year, and now again we have him, and he will be speaking today on the topic of modern spirituality. Thank you, Prabhu, for taking the time.
You have chosen the topic.
Thank you.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
There's a lot of space here. If you like to move a little closer, please.
Hare Krishna. So I'm very grateful to be amongst all of you this evening. Very happy to be in Zurich. Generally I try to come once in 6 months while I'm traveling. This time it has been over a year. But it was a great joy to come and meet old friends And it's always great pleasure to see familiar faces. It gives a lot of hope that people are continuing with their practices of spirituality in some manner. When I first came to Zurich, I think it was in 2015, I didn't expect that I would develop some kind of love and attachment for the devotees in this beautiful temple. But it happened in some way, and I'm very happy to see a very sincere group of devotees here who are struggling and keeping up this beautiful movement of bhakti going on in Zurich amidst all difficult circumstances. The Eastern countries have a challenge of poverty. The Western countries have the challenge of excess. But both are obstacles in some manner. And both have brought to question that where exactly is the middle ground, and so on. In ancient times, religion and spirituality brought some hope to the basic human questions of what exactly is the purpose of our life. People took shelter of religion for that purpose primarily. Why? Because human beings are naturally designed for these questions. You really don't have a choice. Even if someone is an atheist and says, I don't believe in God, questioning oneself is an integral part of human existence. So far I have not seen permanent atheists, and even those who have professed atheism for most part of their life, if you keep reading their books as they go ahead in age, in the journey, in their interviews, somehow they have the elements of reflection coming on. It's very difficult not to question existence or life itself, especially when you are in this set of body with this set of senses. It's impossible. You can artificially try. You'll succeed sometime trying to defy the voice, trying to silence your own minds. No, I don't believe. But somewhere it keeps lurking, like a ghost. Who am I? Where am I? What's exactly the purpose? And so on. That's the beauty. Even if these questions go unanswered, it's a blessing that you had this question. And if you are able to go one step further ahead to get some meaning somehow, then it's even more beautiful and wonderful. So I would like to have a discussion today on this topic of modern spirituality. Some of you have gone through the journey of life. You have experienced many other things in different parts of the world as well. And because you are part of the developed modern world, I want all of you to contribute to this idea that what do you see is the difference between or in the modern times as far as religiosity or spirituality is concerned compared to what your fathers or grandfathers must have performed. Do you have any views on it? What are the advantages or disadvantages of modern times with respect to spirituality? Yes.
Technological development can be seen as bad or good.
I'm asking, in modern times, do you see some advantage in terms of practicing spirituality, or you see some kind of obstacles, whatever you see in the modern times?
It makes it difficult because of this.
It's not about correct or wrong. Everything has good and bad sides. So, yes.
So the availability of spiritual teachings is much easier.
Yes.
And I guess opposite to that, there's many more hindrances in modern society, like so many influences that stimulate that we cannot see clearly.
Yeah, very good. So spirituality is accessible at our fingertips like never before. Although there are so many distractions because of the modern technology, spirituality is accessible at your fingertips. Earlier days, there were no books. Just about 200, 300 years ago, there were no books. So if someone had a great idea, it was either written on leaves or carved on stones somewhere, and someone had a very profound idea, but he was not recognized. So even modern researches are all about some traveler coming in some country and then seeing some formulas on the stones and coming out with some mathematical derivations or some mysterious things. So the transformation or accessibility to knowledge was almost impossible unless and until that person desired that I want to give you some knowledge. You would never get knowledge because there was no method of storing. Amazon was a forest or a river. Then it became a storehouse of books, and later it became a general shopping. But today on your fingertips you can just type some subject which I am speaking, type it, Prime Day, Prime delivery, 1 day delivery, you get a book. And let's say you don't want to read. You have innumerable lectures or discussions happening on YouTube. And it's not just simply someone giving a class, there are debates and discussions. That makes it even wonderful. So it's an unreal amount of advantage the modern civilization has as far as accessibility to the truth is concerned. Despite the distraction, very good point. Anything else what you have now which was not there earlier? Think about it. Couple of centuries ago, if you even spoke something about the truth, you were crucified. Socrates was killed just because he was questioning life itself. He was questioning authority, not the political authority, but he was questioning there is an authority beyond humans. There is a great purpose. He was condemned to death just for standing for the truth. Not that he was saying that, oh, I believe in Jesus, and someone said, I believe in Allah, and therefore they would kill. No. Just that there is a God, there is a purpose of life, just for this simple thing. Just for the idea of justice. Today it's not like that. You have freedom of choice, except in some really cultish, desert kind of cultures, you do not have the freedom of choice in religion. But otherwise, you have immense freedom of choice. Even within families most of the times. Earlier times it was not there. You could not choose. This freedom of choice comes with a price. It's very fragile. Many of us, we have misused it to such a great extent that now a certain section of the society wonders that does humanity deserve so much freedom? The freedom for which so many philosophers have died, that freedom which was supposed to... See, the earlier discussions on freedom were about the choice of life and seeking God, seeking truth and seeking purpose of life. That's where the ideas of law, justice and freedom were crafted. They were not crafted that on a Saturday night I want which pub or bar should I go, which party should I go, whom should I marry or whom should I not marry. There was no freedom. The earlier discussions of freedom were not on that. They were a discussion on What's the purpose of life? Seeking a sense of life which gives you an ultimate freedom. No animal species talks about these things. A human being has the most freedom than compared to all other species, and yet it talks about some kind of even more freedom. That's very fragile. It is our responsibility as a civilization to protect that choice which we have been given and use that choice very, very effectively. Nobody is stoned to death except for just a marginal section of society, just for questioning God. Nobody is burnt alive. Nobody is skinned alive. This has been even in the European history for last 300, 400 years. Just because you belong to a certain gender, you were considered not having souls. It was just about 200 years ago the church decided, oh yes, women have souls. You know that? Till that women didn't have soul. And animals, still there is a debate whether animals have soul or not. In just 50, 60 years after the advent of technology, we have become so unaware, we have become so callous about the freedom which and opportunity which we have got. And we feel that these were utopian ideas. These were not age-old ideas. These are just recent things. Our opportunity which we have got is just so new. It's not yet developed. We have not developed our thought so well compared to the degradation which we are doing with the advent of all this technology. So one blessing which we have today all over the world is the freedom of choice to investigate unto the truth. That is one of a very good thing. Not only that, people, let's say, of course, right now we are in a society called International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are in the ISKCON, in an ISKCON temple and talking about spirituality. But even within that, there is a lot of choice to question and evolve. Today, spirituality is also a marketplace, which was not earlier. It is a marketplace. And not only that, there are so many teachers who offer customized teachings. That okay, based on you, your psychology, your situation, let me tell you. Teachings are no longer so religious as used to be. That okay, this book is telling about these 5, 6 things, you have to just blindly follow and apply. No. Okay, customized teachings are there. Developed. Human thought is getting developed. The Vedic thought, in fact, the whole idea of Vedic literatures was this only. That humanity should naturally develop to reach to the state of God consciousness without any extraordinary effort. You are not expected to do efforts like compare yourself to some skills of an animal and then do an effort. That okay, I will reach to God only if I can lift as much as I can, and as much as an elephant can lift. No, that is not expected. You are not expected to run faster than a typical animal or swim like a typical shark and then compete and then prove yourself. No, you don't have to prove yourself better than any species at all. You just have to be true to yourself being a human being and follow the basic abilities which are given. That itself is enough to reach God. No species has to be taught about love, kindness and compassion. It's only the human species which needs that. Do you think a species which is so advanced biologically in the whole ecosystem, do you actually need to be taught about that? Isn't it a shame that we have misused our freedom and opportunity to such an extent that we have to be taught about love, kindness, compassion? No species speaking about freedom. It's only the human beings who are talking about freedom, liberty. That species which has the most freedom and most liberty is still talking about freedom and liberty, and screaming about it in the free societies. That's even more contrasting. So where is the captivity? There's a nice story about a soldier. These days, of course, these days we have soldiers, but earlier days, just about a couple of decades ago, because the world was reeling mostly under the English, the British and the French captivity. So those countries had something called freedom fighters. You must have heard this term, right? Freedom fighters. So those who are fighting for freedom, whenever I hear that term, I feel that, oh, the Srimad Bhagavatam is also trying to teach us that only, right? You become a freedom fighter. The true sense of freedom. So one time, a freedom fighter, after fighting a battle, was traveling to his native country. And this story is referred to be about a couple of decades ago. So today when people go on war or a fight, there is all aeroplanes and they transport them to their home in just one day or so. But those days when the fightings had to be on the horses, so you had to travel so far to the borders, fight, and then you go back to the cities. So after winning the war, this freedom fighter, he was going back with the normal entire caravan of soldiers and the staff and so on. And then there were also some people of the civil society there, some villagers who had joined them to support, and they were coming back. So one such villager, he also had a parrot in a cage. Now, this parrot was an interesting parrot. It would always chant, freedom, freedom, freedom. So this freedom fighter thought, oh, there's someone who talks about freedom, values freedom. Of course, the parrot does not truly understand what freedom means. But he started feeling, because the parrot is flapping its wings in the cage and talking about freedom, it would be so nice, because I have just liberated my country from the fear of the enemies. Why not I get this parrot free from the cage and give the freedom it deserves? It's natural. So, but then he thinks that if I do that, right now I'm a hero. But if I leave this parrot, then the villager will get upset and people will start criticizing me. I don't want to do that. So he decides that when it's late at night, I will secretly open the cage and let the parrot go and give it the freedom it wants. So as it was the middle of the night, when everyone was sleeping, this person went and opened the cage of the parrot, and the parrot kept screaming, freedom, freedom, freedom. But it didn't come out. After a while, this person showed some grains and something, come, take. Because this person thought that maybe the parrot is scared that I'm going to catch him. It was not that. So the parrot came near the cage. It stood on the door of the cage, but it was not flying. So this person tried to shoo off the parrot. Go. And the parrot would bite the person's hand. So this person could not understand what's exactly happening. Why is it not flying? So he caught hold of the parrot. The parrot bit on his hand a couple of times. And then still this person, ignoring all the pain this parrot was giving, he did not feel that, you rascal, I am giving you freedom and you are biting me, let me throw you in the cage back. He did not do that. He thought that the parrot is ignorant in its own thing, it's getting scared of me. So he caught hold of it and threw it up in the air. The parrot flew away. Freedom, 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 freedom. So this person felt accomplished. This was my final battle. So he had bloody battles, but this was a sweet battle that he gave freedom. He didn't have to fight for it technically. And then he went to his tent and slept. In the morning he was expecting someone is going to say, oh, the cage was open and the parrot flew away. He went to the tent and the parrot saw this person and started screaming, freedom, freedom. This person was surprised. I had thrown up him in the sky, but it came back. I used to feel that such stories are just moral or metaphorical stories. Just last month, I was at someone's home in Texas, United States, and they have 2 parrots in their house. And they also keep playing in the cage. So I just asked them, don't they want to be free? Don't they want to fly? So they said that when we bought them, they were in the cage, and we bought them thinking that we will at least liberate few parrots. But when we came at home and we opened the cages, they never went out. And if they went out, they would go for 5-10 minutes in the room, here and there, sit on the fan or these lights, and then after some time they'll go back. So they were surprised, and they asked the parrot keepers, those who breed them. They said that these parrots, once they are in the cage, they get food without any effort. Right? People feed them food, they get juices, honey, water, something they give. And after a while, there is no threat to their existence. There are no climatic planning, you have to plan for a nest or a shelter when you are outside. Here they have to do nothing. Therefore, these parrots, they have lost all confidence to exist in the open skies where there is all freedom for them. This was just recent. When I heard this, I was so shocked and amazed that these are not just simply stories said for the sake of it, but it is so true to us as well. A person who is naturally designed to fly in the open skies, who can build a house anywhere, can pluck any fruit, we have to pay for everything, right? This little bird can go on any tree, any nest, any worm, any insect, anywhere. It can go, no taxes. It can do everything. Flying and relocating is so natural. And being a bird, we like to go on the top of mountains just to have a view of the society. For a bird, that is the main pleasure, that you navigate in the skies. Despite that, being its natural state, the bird ignores that. Just because it has got some conveniences and some opportunities, and it's willing to trade off its true freedom and true liberty. Put our own lives in that perspective. We all are screaming for freedom and liberty. And the most choices and the loudest of the noises for freedom and liberty are in the countries of America and Europe or India, where there is already democracy and choice of lifestyle, choice of spirituality, too many options. Think about it. Which is the cage which is so attractive to us? We are suffocating in that cage, but we don't want to leave. You know something is hurting you, harming you, but you don't have the courage to give it up. We don't have the ability to fly in the open skies. We are so fearful. We have become cowards in our heart. We have taken so much shelter to our own temptations, to our own conveniences, knowing well that these conveniences are also hurting me. Not all conveniences are good. Of course, we need some convenience, we need some comforts, but not all are good. Not all enhance our value of life. And still we hook up to them. And then we cry to our own teachers or mentors or probably to our own selves, I know this is wrong, I want to give it up, 10 times we go to this people. We pray to God, Krishna, please help. I want to give this up. I want to do something meaningful. Help me soar in the skies. But yes, I have this much. I want to soar with all this luggage with me. That's not possible. With the baggage of our ignorance, with the baggage of our weaknesses, with the baggage of our stubbornness, you can never fly. You may have the desire, which is a genuine and a sincere desire. I am not saying that it's not a genuine desire. Everyone who is suffering even little bit, he has a genuine cry. But then he or she sees no hope, no courage, like the parrot. And sometimes even those people who try to help you and give you a solution, if they find fault in you that, you know what, you could be liberated from this problem, you need to do so and so. If they find you responsible for not bringing solution to your life, you start hating them. I have seen that personally in my life many times. When you try to do some conflict resolution or you try to help someone for some time, so initially when people come for help, they always come complaining how 10 people have done something wrong to them. No one directly says, you know, I have messed up my life, I am this, I am that, tell me how I should improve. No. They say that, oh, this person has messed up my life, so many things went wrong, and therefore I am messed up. Now can you help me? So in the process of help, naturally, someday, let's say you go to a doctor. Someday maybe the doctor will say, oh, you also have some bad eating habits. You have some bad habits. So when a person tries finding fault in you, you start hurting or blaming that very person, especially when you are dealing with depression or psychological problem cases. There's a big science on how to interrogate criminals. Even if you want to help someone who is in depression, you have to have a proper understanding, because those people whom you are trying to help, they could get possessive about you, or they could feel offended about some comment of yours which may be absolutely true, and they could kill you. There have been so many stories about psychologists being killed by their patients. And what happened? Just the psychologist felt that I have given you so much time, you are not doing your part, so I am not going to meet you today. That's enough. How did you ignore my call? Go on Google, you will find many such stories. Even those people who are trying to help you, let's say the great spiritual teachers or the acharyas are such kind of people who are trying to help us to liberate from the cage, but then we almost come out, but we don't want to leave the last step. And sometimes we just get inside, and when they say, okay, go, you just pick on their own hands. You hurt them. It's just a human psychology. I'm not saying it's bad and good, but that's the path to freedom. When we are taking one small little steps for our own improvement, when you have to lift one step and go ahead, you know, generally when you make a step for progress, you have one step as a backup plan where you are in your own comfort zone and everything, and one step you put forward. But when you have to lift the other step, you feel that what if this doesn't work? So many times you don't want to lift that step. It does not give you enough confidence and courage. It happens with most spiritual practitioners, that they find it very difficult to make some commitment because they fear that I may become a misfit in the society, or maybe I may not be able to continue for long, then I'll be seen as a failure, and so on. When you progress in spirituality, some little compromises each one has to make. Like I was talking to one devotee, after about 7-8 years of their practice, I said, what is that you find most positive and most negative in your journey? So they said the positive part is, I feel comfortable with the philosophy and the practices are helping me and I am feeling more calm and peaceful and so on. But the negative part is, I cannot enjoy with my friends anymore the way I used to be enjoying. I can no longer participate for the long parties in the weekends. We do go to their home for some functions, it's customary, you may have to visit and so on. But I cannot relish it anymore. We sit there for 3-4 hours, but we are just thinking we cannot tolerate the stench of this and the style of festivals and so on. So they were telling, we have lost a lot of friends. They were genuinely telling. I said, okay, then go back to them. So they said, that's also not possible. It's a miserable condition. So even when you are making some progress in spirituality, when you have to pay some price, it's like that parrot it's not fully ready for that because it feels that it's losing on a big thing. So today it's not even that. Today we have a support system. It's not like 100 years ago, if somebody wanted to practice spirituality, he would be all alone. Today, if you have a version of spirituality you are practicing, you can just type on Google, ISKCON Geneva, ISKCON Hungary. You can just type. Or Bhakti Yoga in Zurich, Bhakti Yoga something. You can always choose the denomination of spirituality in the place where you are, and you'll come across some people. Do you all agree or not? There is a sense of support. You are not all alone in this world. It's no longer those types that you had to make a step where you didn't know that you'll have no friends. Today you take a decision, you will have like-minded people of anything. Anything. You can actually type cocaine hookup places, Zurich. You'll find a group. It is so easy. You are not alone in anything, whether it's positive or negative. So these are the blessings of modern times, especially in the aspects of positive aspects of spirituality also. You have a community, you have some support, you have some good friends, some valuable people all around. There is one greatest advantage we have in modern times is also that spirituality is no longer confined as a theory. Today science and spirituality are converging. Recently, I came across a paper which was speaking about there's a theory going on, what is the most fundamental particle. So first they found out atom is the most fundamental particle. Then they found out electron, proton are fundamental particle. Then they started finding what is actually electron. What is it made up of? Say proton is positive, neutron is neutral, and electron is negative charge particle. So why is it like that? Then they came across with the theory of strings, that actually there is nothing called electron or a proton or a neutron. It is just some strings which vibrate in a certain manner. If they vibrate in this manner, they are called electrons. If they are vibrating horizontally, they are called protons. If they are in this degrees, then they are called neutrons, and so on. They have classified. So essentially, the theory says everything in this universe is simply a vibration. And this is exactly what the Vedic theories tell us. That this whole world is nothing but a composition of nad, or the primordial sound, a vibration, a grand sound vibration. And the vibrations in different manners is producing different things. What an amazing reach by the science. So today, it's not even, you don't need to even be scared of spirituality, that you are following some utopian idea. No, it's not that. Science and spirituality, you can question spirituality. You can question the faiths which you are following. Science and spirituality is converging. It is no longer a burden. It's not that, okay, I believe or I don't believe. If you are a rational scientist, you are going to be a spiritualist. And if you are genuinely a spiritualist, you will have a rational thought. That's where we are heading to. One of the recent last year's research which speaks that everything in this world is actually an illusion. Now this is what we hear in Gita and Bhagavatam, that the world is illusion. But when the physicists say this, that this is an illusion. How many of you saw this movie Oppenheimer? Oppenheimer, right? About the nuclear. Only one? Okay, these are movies which deserve to be seen. Instead of watching. An interesting thing is there in that. This person says, he says that atoms don't exactly, he says that two people can never touch each other. You can never touch this wood. We touch this, we touch our hands, we touch each other, we hug or embrace each other, we feel each other. But he says at an atomic level, things cannot touch each other. So there is always space between them. So essentially then what is touch? We do speak about touch, right? I felt his healing touch. I felt his loving touch. Or if you punch someone, then it feels very hard. But actually at an atomic level, the touch is not possible. Why? Because there is a very strong energy field around each atom. And when they come close beyond certain level, they repel. And that force of repelling is what we feel as touch. But actually it's not possible. So in fact, the whole concept of touch itself is an illusion, right? When you feel something, when someone touches you in some certain manner, you feel good, bad or whatever. Suppose your internal system was designed to not feel that repulsive force, then you would not feel the touch at all. Right? Sometimes when someone, just last 2 weeks ago, I had one tooth extraction. So they put a syringe. Anyone has had a tooth extraction here? So my face had become like a tennis ball on one side, because it was a very complex procedure. They had to bring cutters and drillers to just cut it. The wisdom tooth had gone wrong way. So once that anesthesia was given, there was zero sense of touch. When they were drilling here and there, my head was shaking because of the force, but not of the pain at all. So this whole concept of touch, even sight. I was watching one documentary which was speaking about that when we see certain animals or objects, we see in a certain range of colors, we hear certain sounds. We truly don't know when we say that, when I came to the temple, it was such a peaceful experience. But God forbid, if you had an ability to hear like certain animals, you will feel that it is such a loud place. That's possible. So our concept of silence, peace, green color, blue color, orange color, everything is just limited to human beings. If suppose these eyes were removed and the eyes of the frog are put, you will see differently. It's just so simple. So when the scriptures say that this world is an illusion, that whatever you see and touch and feel is all relative, exactly the same things the physicists are saying in a different manner. That these vibrational frequencies are meeting each other and it is giving a different sense of perception. And this is the basis of which they are saying that if the vibrations of certain elements are controlled in a certain manner, you could change the shapes of objects, you could teleport a person from here and there and so on. These theories are now coming up. Why? Because now they have ascertained that the world is it's all vibrations everywhere. And then they found out, this research was done on mantras. Because it's only in the Vedic traditions where there is a discussion talk about chanting, the mystical mantras like the chanting of Om, or the chanting of Hare Krishna, the chanting of Purusha Shukta prayers, the chanting of Gayatri and so on. And they found out that whenever these mantras were chanted on a set of electrons and protons, the vibration was most synchronized. The vibration was in tune with the universal vibrations. That brings another thought then. That are these vibrations which are these mantras which are spoken in these literatures, are they just simply what we used to call as the holy names of God, or they are also beyond that? That simply means the holy name of God, when we say this is the original sound which existed in the universe. When Bhagavatam speaks, Om is the original sound in the universe. When we chant Hare Krishna and say these are the holy names of the Lord, these when it speaks about holy names and universal names, it means that it has energies which has an ability to penetrate and participate with universal forces. It's not like when I speak your name and call you, oh I like you, I love you, hi, hello, Tommy, Jimmy, whatever is our name. Sorry if someone is Tommy or Jim here. I'm just giving. It may or it may not have universal vibration. We are heading to that point, that the normal chants which we do are divine. Very beautifully, in one of the Gaudiya Vaishnava bhajans, a line comes, Golokera prema dhana harinama sankirtana. This small little sankirtan which we do, the chantings, it says this sound vibration is connected to Goloka, to the spiritual world. Now, try to understand this theory from a physical perspective. It could have been said this sound vibration is very beautiful. Why is it being specifically said Golokera prema dhana? This sound vibration is coming as the loving tune descending from the spiritual world. Today the physicists are telling there are so many sound vibrations which are coming from different galaxies to us. Different interstellar objects. And that is also affecting our human existence. It is affecting our human consciousness. I am not concocting theories. Google it out. It's an amazing research which is happening. And it has also enhanced my faith that now I see much of the spiritual words like this. That this vibration is this vibration. I've started seeing it as some real energy flowing. Then what is physical and what is spiritual? Everything is then spiritual, right? Then what is material is only the way in which we interact. When a person has his mind and thoughts, have you heard about this concept of Reiki, healing, distant healing? Have you heard about this concept of quantum entanglement? It says that two electrons can be entangled with each other so identically that if one electron is moving, let's say in a clockwise direction on Earth in the Milky Way galaxy, a quantum entangled electron with that would be moving in the exact same manner in the Andromeda galaxy. Not planets, galaxies. These are all physical theories which brings that universe is connected. We are not individuals here just having an existence on earth and human beings are just stuttering here and there. We are connected to a grand scheme of things. And grand scheme of things are also affecting us. You really don't know whether your movement is affecting someone else or someone else's movement in a quantum entanglement is affecting you. These are physical researches. And this is where, then when our scriptures speak that in the human form of life, You have a level of consciousness that your consciousness affects everyone around you. One cannot say, I cannot say that, oh, it's my life, I am in my room, I can think whatever, wherever. No. You are quantum entangled to someone else. Someone else is quantumly entangled to you. How you think and behave, even if you are not consciously interacting with someone, it is contributing to the vibrations and the energies of the universe. And therefore, when you think and behave and act in a manner that your vibrations, your mental state, your physical state, your emotional state gets in tune with the grand nature to the emotional state of the universe, you experience what is called as oneness. You experience what is called as meditation. So our interaction with the world should not be seen like a step treatment. I was born here in Switzerland or France or India or Germany, whatever, and I just don't know what to do and life is so boring and this. No, nothing is happening somehow. You are as wonderful as these grand planets. You are as wonderful as you think someone else is wonderful. Nothing is an accident. It's a divine, majestic game going. Just because you do not experience love or you do not feel integrated with someone, you feel you are lost. You all must have experienced this. At least when I was young, in my school days, I was deeply in love with a girl. So those days we used to watch movies and everyone thought that, oh, you should be having some girlfriend. It was kind of a customary thing. So in the West it was always already a developed thought. In India it was developing that thought. So there was no idea of love as such, but it was like, oh, you must have someone whom you can call my girlfriend or my boyfriend. So there was this girl. So the moment I thought that, oh, I should have this person as my girlfriend, suddenly I became very happy in life. In my mind, nothing has happened on the ground. It's just in the mind. Oh, now this person. And then one friend of mine, he spoke to her and he said he shares some special affection for you. So she said, I also share some special affection for you. And I was like in cloud 9. Nothing has happened on the ground. I have no sense of how to work. I'm still studying. And compared to the Western culture, the boys and girls don't mix there. Now they mix there freely, but at least 30 years ago, nobody would mix freely. So it was kind of an affection which was like a distant affection. Okay, I like you. You like me. Stealing some glances here and there. But that simple act gave a sense of purpose, as if a kind of a stability. And now I feel protected. Have you all experienced something like this? The moment you have someone whom you can call, okay, my partner, my companion, you get a sense of stability. Suddenly you start seeing everything is wonderful. All the problems do exist, but you start feeling everything is fine. We'll figure it out. Everything is fine. We'll figure it out. Of course, in a couple of months, because I was so attached to philosophy, she got upset with me that every time on the weekends you are only in some programs. So she went away. Anyways, that relationship never developed in the first place. But that idea, then I was conceiving of this thought that it's amazing. I was just thinking of this thought. Just I had some sense of affection and that brought stability. Then what is this world all about? Hundreds and thousands of things going, but if that one emotion come across, it steals away your mind and heart. And the whole world becomes just that person or that object. Observe, it's not a small thing. Your mind you have an intelligence and ability to think and evolve and grasp and grab and earn many things in this world. But that one object, an object of love, if it comes close to you in a mutual way, it has such a drastic change in consciousness. And that's not limited only to human beings. It's limited to animals as well. Across all species. But in human beings it goes one step ahead. We do not want to limit our experiences of love and affection even to the conditioned state. An animal, it has a time period in which it can love its children and so on. Even human beings, they have a time frame. You cannot keep eternally loving someone. But you eternally keep expecting that loving emotion to be there. The excitement and joy which the loving emotion brings is not brought about by anything else, by no other accomplishments of this world. And people continuously seek for that. And then in these vibrational frequencies in the science which we are talking, it was registered that when a person has some love and affection, so they measured that a person was told to remember his or her own most loving person and then measure the vibration, the state of consciousness. They saw that the vibration is in the highest positive frequency when a person experiences that love. So it is so amazing when we hear this, that when Krishna would meet with the gopis, or when the gopis, these loving cowherd girls, when they would meet Krishna, that would generate so much love that all the living entities would be satisfied by that. Now, these are stories which come in scriptures, but I try to now measure it with this modern theory. When I would measure that if two people love each other, when they come close to each other, when they meet each other, what joy is that going to help me? What joy is that going to bring me? They two met, how does it affect me? But when one's consciousness is so high, so elevated, the more pure you are, and when you exhibit the sense of love, that vibrations impact everyone. So it's now no longer a theory. Do not think this as religious subject matters. These are deeply scientific, profound, the miracles in which this universe has been constructed. The universe has not been constructed by our mundane thoughts and intelligence. We have constructed some buildings, some lakes here and there. Means maybe the borders of the, nobody has constructed the water. And the other day someone was asking me what is the meaning of pralaya. You have heard about pralaya, right? Pralaya means the time of destruction. That's what generally it is understood. But it's not the time of destruction. When the nature sees that there is too much of egoistic human interference, the nature has to correct itself and bring again. Laya means a rhythm. Rhythm means there must be some kind of sound or frequency or energy balance, right? Pralaya means a complete beautiful resetting of that rhythm. So in mundane, in the application of this word, as far as the Vedic literature is concerned, it says that every cycle of Satyuga, Dwapar, Treta Yuga, there is a universal destruction where everything is destroyed and everything then again comes up, and that is called as pralaya. But when you go to the word of it, it's not pralaya. Let's say, I'll give you an example. We have a beautiful temple here. Let's say some termites, they start building up their hill. Do you have termite hills here anytime? Not seen? Ants. Okay, ants. Okay. So suppose you see an ant hill. So from our perspective, that's an illegal migration. Because it was not supposed to be in my backyard. But it came and they built it up. So the ant colony is thinking that I have more ants. These ants, now they have made all their cubicles and so on. It's a very complicated structure which they build. And one fine day you thought, let me clean up this. And you clean up that area. Do you say that I have destroyed an anthill today? I have destroyed cobwebs and I have killed hundreds of spiders. You don't say like that. What do you say? Today we cleaned up the place. Correct? From our side, it's like keeping the place in order as it's supposed to be. But what would be going in the colony of ants? There has been a universal destruction. Every single home and colony and cubicle has been destroyed. Thousands of ants killed. So from a human perspective, when we say the time cycle of universal dissolution or destruction takes place, it's just a human perspective, because your constructed buildings and offices and homes are getting destroyed. But the nature sees is that these all were disturbing my vibrations. I want to just reset it. So from God's angle, it is like pralay, putting everything back to rhythm. So the most beautiful part of all of this is when we meditate, when we lovingly chant and come together, when we lovingly serve each other. This whole process of bhakti, it's an emotional culture, it's not an intellectual culture. It's an emotional culture that we meet each other, but we meet each other with love and devotion. We try to serve each other with genuine sincerity and honesty. Why? Because we want to enrich our lives. And by enriching our lives, even if we are just a bunch of 5, 10, 20 people, that vibration becomes so attractive that others want to participate. It pulls many others. These little acts of bhakti yoga, like what we come for chanting, these are very revolutionary things. It's time. Soon there will be a time where people will recognize that this Harinam Sankirtan is not an age-old practice. It is a revolutionary concept, most practical for the modern age. The 12th canto says, Kaler dosha nidhi rajan astihi eko mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangam param rajet. Even though there are innumerable fallacies and discrepancies in this modern times, socially, materially, spiritually, so many other things, still this age is designed for Harinam Sankirtan. And these vibrations are potent and powerful enough to reset our consciousness, which is now trapped in the cage of our own ego, to dismantle that cage and get united with this whole cosmic creation. So that is the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone has any questions or comments? Yes.
So sometimes we may have the understanding of the philosophy, and we're also...
Can you give the mic to him?
So sometimes we may have the full understanding of the philosophy, like at least in theory, and we've also developed some taste and appreciation for Krishna consciousness, but there may be some amount of reluctance, and the process of chanting may not be very natural. As you said, for the human being, this is very natural. You should not have a lot of effort in order to do it. So what is that blockage which happens? Like even after one might have developed the appreciation and engaging in the activities fully, there may still be some blockage. So why does that happen? And is it because of the baggage that we have, as you mentioned, or what are the other things that could be?
Yes, because of that baggage, and also humankind has become so complicated that when some theory is presented in a very complicated manner, we find it more appealing. I am talking about myself. When someone told me about these parrots recently, I was like amazed. It is so true. It's a deep psychological state. These are not some stories like that. Not only that, when I read these physics papers about these modern researches, my chanting has improved a little bit because of that. Because I no longer see it as a religious activity or a spirit, something what Prabhupada taught and out of faith I have to follow, or Mahaprabhu. I see it as if I am like interacting with vibrations. It's just a practical thing. But for a person whose heart is not contaminated with complexities, see, the modern education system has trained us to, in a manner that the essential spirit of human existence is getting compromised in this. The education system is not designed to evolve as a human being. It is designed to serve the industries. So we say that who is very intelligent, he did PhD in metallurgy. He's designing rocket engine. Okay, but human intelligence is not meant for that. Of course, you can do that. There is no. It's not a bad thing. You can go to Mars and colonize it and all that. Prabhupada said, even if you go there, you are going to open a beer bar, pub, and just do the same things. Like when we are flying in the plane 30,000, 40,000 feet, what do? We watch movies. Nobody is looking out of the window and thinking, oh, I'm in the clouds, let me chant, let me search for the gods here. No. The same habits. Exactly. So nothing is going to change as such. So modern education has taught us to be probably smart with the material energy, but we have lost to the human species itself, the ability, the core ability. So it's also because of that. And therefore, those who are trained right from the childhood to do some spiritual practices, investigate into truth, seek the higher things. So they are people, they do not find too much difficult for all these things. Their minds easily accept to any theory which could be very constructive, in the sense that if you tell them that, oh, why don't you chant and see if you can, do you find some difference? They are open to ideas, they are not closed to ideas. There are very few people these days like that. So it's more of the modern world. And also because it is Kali Yuga, the collective vibrations is dumbing down the civilization. That's also true. So the